how do you actually change her mind about you and the marriage? Is there some systematic process and proven way to get her to see you change the way she sees you? To get her to let go of all the past mistakes and to only focus on your growth and future together? Yes, it's possible, but there's one problem that holds most men back from making that happen. Once you remove this issue, her perception does a complete 180-degree shift. Now, I call this negative perception the demonic sentiment. Let me explain. Why is it that no matter how good your intentions are, or how much you show you care, or how much you're willing to fight for her, to show her that you've changed, she seems to not care in the slightest? Why? How? It's almost as if some demonic entity entered into her mind and is draining you of your hope and love. Now that may seem like a stretch, but a lot of men convey this feeling to me when they fight to save their marriage. In the next few minutes, I'm gonna show you how to remove that evil veil over her eyes so she can see the truth of your changes as a man, to create a renewed devotion toward her and to reset the marriage and her mind about your love. But first, let's break down this demonic sentiment. Now there are a lot of different modalities on the different parts of you, but I'm gonna make it simplistic. So I want you to see yourself in two parts. There's your protector and your embracer. You can see in the chart here that the protector is based in fear as an emotion. It focuses on the past. It thinks about itself. It is directed in the consciousness of the head. It is all about the self. It contracts and it resists. Where the embracer is all about love, staying in the present moment, connecting. It receives messages from the heart where truth emerges. It is expansive and accepting. Let me share with you a story of how this plays out. Mike sat alone in his dimly lit living room, his hands cradling a cold cup of coffee, staring at an empty seat across from him. It had been her seat, Claire's, for the past 10 years that they shared the space together, full of laughter, plans, and dreams. But now the warmth in her eyes had turned cold. Her once affectionate words now clipped and distant. It started subtly, a forgotten anniversary, the way she would stare past him at dinner, the phone becoming more of a constant companion. Then one evening, she said it outright. I want a divorce. The words hit him hard, leaving him stunned, searching for air. From that moment, Claire became someone Mike didn't recognize. She stopped sharing anything. No laughter, no tears, no explanations. She moved through the hours like a shadow, detached and unbothered, as if a wall had been erected between them. She seemed consumed by her own needs, her own plans, dismissing any attempt made to understand each other. It was as if she became someone else entirely, a stranger wearing his wife's face. Now Mike's anguish was relentless. He questioned everything. Was it his fault? Had he missed something? Was there a way to really fix this? Night after night, he replayed every argument, every moment, trying to stitch together the unraveling threads of their life. His mind tormented him with memories of a woman she used to be, the one who had laughed with him until her stomach hurt, who had looked at him like he was her safe place. But now she was emotionally impenetrable, her gaze distant and unfeeling. The void she left was unbearable, a mix of pain and confusion that clawed at his chest. It felt like the Claire he loved had just really died, and in the place stood someone that he didn't really care about. It was suffering for him. Yet in the quiet of his despair, there was a tiny ember of hope that flickered away. Somewhere deep down, he knew this wasn't the end of his story or hers. Maybe this wasn't just about her pulling away, but about him stepping up. Perhaps with the ashes of devastation, he could become the man she would want to fall back in love with again, or the man he himself needed to be. So as he set his cold coffee aside, he stared into the empty seat. His resolve began to build up again, not for her, but for himself. He didn't know where the journey would lead, but he was certain of one thing. He would not let her transformation define him. The light, faint as it was still there waiting. Now, between those two selves, that protector, why does it usually win? You have to understand this concept. The game we're playing right now in life is to survive, okay? That is the main game, right? You lose if you die. I know it's obvious, but just follow me here. So when we are perceiving in our environment that our needs are not being met from our partner, we start shifting focus from the embracer, right, towards others and love, towards the self, and our protector gets activated. I'm not going to go too much on a side quest in the conversation here, but even the other day in one of the groups, I was saying how I think all evil stems from this protector, where most times, 95% of the time, we don't have malintentions to hurt other people, but we are so self-focused, we don't realize how our actions are affecting others. And that's how it is with your wife. As much as it seems like she's doing these things purposefully to hurt you, she's just focusing on herself, not caring or thinking about you. Because Claire could no longer rely on his needs over the years. He wasn't leading, he wasn't protecting, he wasn't providing, he was complacent. And the reason why fear usually trumps negativity is because as a priority, your brain will selectively focus on things to protect. Okay. The analogy I always give is if you walk into a forest and you're starving and you want food, you see a bunch of, you see a banana tree or whatever it is, and then you hear a tiger in the woods or some animal, right? Your focus is not going to stay on the bananas. You're going to go towards the thing that is a threat. And the same thing happens with you in your relationship. As soon as she did certain things, there was red flags, or she started a relationship with someone, she stayed late at work, whatever the case may be, also from you to her, your guys' both protectors and fear started to win the battle. So let's talk about the Great Divide. So what is your role in all this? What can you do to actually change her mind? Well, actually a damn lot. Here are two cold, harsh truths you need to accept. Number one, she feels the way she does about you right now based on the culmination of all your individual actions. She's not crazy. Her trauma is not the reason why this is happening. I'm sorry, it isn't. Okay, I understand the belief why some of you may think that is. She is the way she is and the way she feels about you in the marriage because of what you've done. And if you can't accept that fact and you can't move forward from that brutal, hard truth, you shouldn't watch the video. And another fact is, if you truly knew her, knew to speak the feminine language of what she needs from you moment by moment, despite what she says, then you'll be able to meet all her needs automatically. Okay, so if you're not aware of the emotional tipping scale, check it out. This side of the scale represents all the positive emotional experiences she has. This represents all the negative. Like I said before, the way she perceives you and her decision to be with you, it's based in opinion. Okay, of course, there's no fact. She can perceive all the negative attributes in you and even take neutral attributes and make them negative. Or if she feels more positively towards you, everything you do will come through that positive lens. Okay, there's no objective fact on your value as a man to her, okay? Because of course, in your own ego, you can say how you are a great man that does all these positive things, like I bring home money, I do all these things, and it's based in the social conditioning you have of what a good husband actually is. But we don't operate here through what people think and societal conditioning. We operate through what actually works, what is true, okay? So let's start with this one. This represents the marriage, the wedding, falling in love, all the positive big experiences you had with her. And when you're in the positive perspective, nothing that you can do can cause her to see you as the villain. The other day, I splashed water on Hannah and we had a little fun moment about it. But if we were in a fight, right, and we were in an argument or just we were having a bad day, I guarantee if I splashed out water on her in an accident, she would have, or rolled her eyes or said, oh, what the heck, right? And it's even subtle moments like that. So this happens all the time. I want you to recognize this phenomena. But here's what's happened with the majority of the marriages that we see. It was never these giant moments of betrayal. Like you didn't cheat on her, you didn't do these massive things. It was little daily things like you defended your mom over her in an argument, or you forgot to bring her a Valentine's Day card. You stopped buying her that special snack from the grocery store like you used to do. Of course, you made your money, right? And you took care of the kids and you tried to do things to balance stuff out. But over time, it was just too much in the negative sentiment. And the whole thing collapsed and she said, you know what? I'm no longer happy. Now, Mike's fear had always been a quiet presence in the relationship, a shadow lurking just beyond the surface. At first, it was small. It was a nagging doubt that, whispered into him late at night. It began innocently enough when Claire started to really talk about her new colleague. His name was Jake. She spoke about Jake's sense of humor and how easy he was to just work with. Mike told himself it was nothing, but that voice in his head asked, why does she talk about him so much? Am I not enough for her anymore? Does she like him? Would she be with him if she wasn't with me? His fear turned into subtle neediness. He started checking her phone when she wasn't looking, searching for proof that his suspicions were really unfounded, or worse, that they weren't. He didn't find anything at first, but the act itself made him feel shameful, and yet the fear didn't go away. Instead, it grew, like a fire feeding on its own smoke. Years later, that shadow took on a new form. They were out at a bar when Mike caught her laughing with the bartender. It was a little too hard, he thought. She was twirling her hair, her smile was a bit too wide, and his stomach dropped. When they got home, he brought it up, trying to keep his voice even, but his words were just edged with accusation. You seemed you were really into the bartender tonight. His heart was pounding when he said it. Claire sighed and rolled her eyes. Are you serious, Mike? I was just being friendly. But his anxiety latched onto her dismissiveness. It wasn't what she said, it was the way she said it. His fear interpreted her response as a confirmation that something was wrong. The more he pressed, the more she pulled away, retreating into silence. He tried harder to draw her back in, with apologies and promises to work on himself, moments of desperation where he clung on too tightly. And the tighter he held, the more distant she became. And over the years, their interaction started to resemble the infinity loop, a pattern described in emotionally focused therapy. His fear and anxiety were the triggers, and her avoidance was the response. When he felt her slipping away, his instinct was to grasp on tighter, asking more questions, seeking more reassurance, trying to fix something he couldn't even fully name. His energy was needy. His words tripped with panic. Claire feeling overwhelmed, she withdrew. She spent more nights out with her friends and on the weekends, more time away from him. All this reached a peak one night when Mike, scrolling through her social media, saw a photo of Claire at work. She was standing next to Jake, her hand tightly on his shoulder. That single image was like gasoline on a fire of his insecurities. He confronted her again, his voice cracking. He was literally shaking from trauma. Do you even care about this marriage anymore? You're always pulling away from me. Claire's response was cold, almost completely detached. I can't do this anymore. Mike, you're suffocating me. The world shattered him. In his desperate attempts to hold on, he had driven her further away. His fear fed her avoidance, and her avoidance deepened his fear, a self-perpetuating loop that neither of them could break. Yet even in the darkness of that moment, there was still a sliver of realization. For the first time, Mike saw the pattern clearly. His fear wasn't just about her actions, but something deeper within himself. The only way to break the loop wasn't by clinging tighter, but by learning to face the fear and heal himself, whether she stayed or not. And maybe, just maybe, that could be the start of a different kind of story. So how did he change this? Well, let's use the change framework. You first must cultivate awareness. You cannot change what you are not aware of. And once you are aware, you cannot help but change. Look, it's pretty obvious. A lot of men don't realize what really caused them to push their wife away. Your brain will literally blind you to these subconscious patterns. And it is so enlightening that when you get on a call with one of our team members, and in the first 10 minutes, you're telling the story, and they pause you and say, I have to stop you right here. And they say this, this, and this, and she's only doing that because of you did this. And we have so much certainty because we've seen these patterns so many times that aha moment alone, it'll completely shift how you feel about things, and you'll know what to do. And this is what the calls are all about, okay? It adds a clear roadmap of how you're supposed to take action. But we only want you to set up a call down below if you're willing to go down that road with us. The H is to heal the ego. You must be willing to let go of the life you planned to have the life that is waiting for you. This one is one that we all struggle with. And when you were younger and you were creating yourself, if you will, all these experiences were defining who you were. There were parts of you that, were really real stunted in, like if you go back to IFS therapy, like were really stunted in your development because of things that happened to you. And they never really healed. And part of becoming the man that brings her back in is being fully developed and integrated as a man, or an integrated man, right? This is the apex man we talk about on this channel. Reducing this down to its base components, you get what you get in life based on who you are. Your external is reflected from the internal beliefs and thoughts and emotions that you have. Those internals are your values and your perceptions as well. And so far, you have to admit, there are beliefs in you, perceptions that you have about your wife and marriage and love and whatever it is that have not been accurate. And when you reality test those and you try on a different self, if you will, and you see the different results, that's how you heal and grow. The A stands for aligned vision and purpose. Friedrich Nietzsche says, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. You see, what I alluded to with Mike's story is that he was complacent, and many men are. We reach the top, the summit of this mountain of life, of your career and your kids, and you're like, I did everything that I set out to do. I'm successful. I have a couple small goals, but when it comes to the relationship, you become stagnant. Because after you have kids, what is the next level? No one teaches this, okay? You have to have, as a man in your masculine leadership, to create this core vision that she can get on board with, that she wants to get excited about on where you're taking your guys' life together. And when she doesn't feel excited to move forward, she feels the boredom of death, and that is the death of attraction, the death of a marriage. The N stands for navigate with new tools. Now, I'm not going to label out everything, but I want to let you know how our program is completely different than anything else out there. We give each client a personalized roadmap when we get on a call with them. When we accept guys into our program, we say, this is your situation. You are unique in your situation. This is exactly the action steps you have to do based on what we've seen. We assess you in the 5 stages of marriage recovery, which you can see at the end of this video if you want to assess yourself. We say, okay, these are your next action steps. So it's personalized to who you are. We have community-driven accountability. I mean, how many times have you realized where this is, a lot of guys don't understand the power of this until they get into it, but if you've joined a group before, or a sports team, or any organization, you can see how people can other men can challenge you immediately on your beliefs. And normally by yourself, when you do things on your own, you fall off, right? You just kind of give up. It's just a natural way of things, like with entropy. Okay, but if you are forced in this community to drive towards these goals, and we keep you accountable, you achieve success faster. And we have coaching expertise. I'm not the only coach in this company, right? We have coaching experts that are better at what I do in their own domain. So you get all these different experts showing you different perspectives on how they heal the relationship. We have experts who know feminine psychology better than I do. We have other coaches in the program who've been married for over 35 years, right? We have all these different perspectives that when you get a blend of all of that together, it gives you the most comprehensive, honest approach on how to save the marriage. And the most important part is, this is the part that it's just really is crazy to me, because it's like when your marriage is in turmoil, it's almost as if, let's say your child had a sickness and illness, knock on wood here, that never happens to your child, that you have to, take him like a serious illness. But would you take him to a doctor for 1 hour once a week to heal him? No, right? Like it's like your marriage is falling apart, it's ill, it's sick, it's dying. You need like 24/7 support, right? Like this is what's crazy about therapy, is like you're able to get 24/7 support with all the coaches, chat experts, other brothers in arms that you have, community members. There are daily group calls, there's our individual coaching calls. You cannot fail when you join this program. Anyways, that's enough about the program. That's the first time I've ever really shared the different components of it on this whole entire channel. So again, you can set up a call with our team down below. But let's jump into the next letter, which is G, or growth through accountability. I already touched on this a little bit, but I mean, iron sharpens iron, right? So I'm not gonna go depth into the G here, but just when you recognize that when you're with other guys who will challenge you, you grow a lot faster. Now the E stands for embracing detachment. You are not in control of what comes to you, but you are in control of how you respond. Let go and let life flow. Embracing detachment. I have done whole videos on this. It's a very interesting topic here. And ultimately, it's one of those things where you can't really get it until you embrace it. Meaning, what's really holding you back from getting the marriage back, from getting her back, from attracting her back, no matter what she's saying to you, how desperate things may seem, there is this fighting, this resistance, right? Your protector, your controller, you're the part of you that has all this anxiety that's feeding you a story that there's no hope. All of that is to serving you. And you're on the precipice of this cliff, hanging on with one hand, and you're afraid if you let go, you'll fall into the abyss and you'll die. And it really feels that way. Even though you know it's not really true, it does feel that way. And some men have taken their life through this process of divorce. It happens every day. But when you can emotionally learn to let go and recognize you're okay by yourself, that's it, man. The thing is like, she does come back after that, but you don't need her to. And that's the paradox. The moment you don't need her to, she comes back. If you look at all the testimonial calls in the reviews channel, you can check them out. You'll see this with every guy. They have this moment where they were like, I detached. I let go. Anyways, thanks for watching the video to the very end. Much love to you. I'll see you in the next one.